All right, now agriculture is a major source of livelihood throughout the world, especially for the majority of poor people living in the rural areas in developing countries. A key challenge for the majority of these farmers is access to finance. Lack of access to finance is a key impediment to farmers in improving the efficiency of their productions and adopting better technologies. Now with me, just to expound on the importance of agri-finance in agribusiness, is the head of programs from the SelfHelp Africa, Mr. George Okayo. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence this afternoon.
Thank you, Nina.
All right, maybe we can start off with what is the role of agri-finance when in Kenya?
Okay, thank you so much, Nina. Now, before I answer your question, I would just want to say that the agricultural sector in Kenya is actually facing numerous challenges.
Right.
There are challenges related to market access, credit access, input supply, extension services, and all that. Now, to be able to address these challenges, there has to be a financing aspect of it. Farmers should be able to get money to buy inputs, money to be able to put systems that would help them access the market. That is what Agri-FI is all about. Now, Agri-FI is a European Union funded program of about 45 million Kenyan euros, which translated to Kenyan shillings is almost 5 billion Kenyan shillings. And its role is to work with enterprises within the agricultural value chains to be able to integrate up to about 100,000 smallholder farmers. So
How many do you have so far?
It's just started. Currently through other programs, we have about 28,000 farmers that we currently work with.
Wow, all right.
And so what we are trying to address are issues that are related to the aspects that would address the challenges that I've just talked about. Now, it is a blended kind of financing, which means that it is giving out grants and at the same time linking the farmers to be able, and the smallholder farmers to be able to access credit, and also the agri-enterprises to be able to access credit that would then facilitate them to address those challenges that I've just mentioned.
So it's clear to establish that the main challenge that agribusiness faces is capital.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, why is it that this initiative, considering it's the fact that it's a good initiative,
Yes.
but why is it that this particular initiative it started on focusing on lower eastern regions? Are there plans to expand other regions?
Actually, the initiative is supposed to target the whole country. It is supposed to target the whole country. It's also supposed to target any form of agricultural activity within the whole country, targeting any commodity. So the program will reach out to Northeastern, the program will reach out to the coast, to the western part of Kenya, to the Rift Valley, everywhere in Kenya to support the smallholder farmers in any value chain, whether it is dairy, whether it is cashew nut at the coast, whether it is sorghum in western part of Kenya, so long as the enterprises are able to work with the smallholder farmers. Yeah.
And how are those two supposed to work from where you sit?
Sorry?
What is the way forward when the enterprises working with the smallholder farmers?
Yeah, what we are going to do is to be able to call for proposal from the enterprises. So what we'll be doing is that we'll use the media, the print, both the print and the electronic media to be able to inform our the targeted enterprises. We'll use the social media. We'll use various platforms, engage with the county governments and the national government to be able
as visible as possible.
Now, our approach is we have divided the country into 7 regions. These regions, we target to have regional roundtable meetings. And in these roundtable meetings, we'll be calling the different stakeholders within the agricultural sector. And the SMEs are our main target here, to be able to tell them the objective of the program and where we are going to focus on, and then take them through the call guidelines, and then ask them to apply for the funds. So we have given an opportunity for agri-enterprises to be as innovative as they can be, whether they want us to address, whether they want to address issues related to bulking the products, maybe aggregating products, or they want to address issues to do with access to inputs. They want to address issues to do with the quality standards. You know, food safety is an issue in this country.
Yes, it's very
yeah, so we leave them at that to be able to be innovative. So once they have sent to us their proposal, then we look at that and see if at all it meets the objective of integrating the smallholder farmers and also being able to create employment.
What criteria are you using?
We have different criteria. We've just done a study and where we talked to quite a number of enterprises. But one of the issues that, one of the criteria is it must be an agri-enterprise, not any other enterprise. Number two, it must demonstrate that they are working with smallholder farmers. Number three is any initiative that they try to propose must be able to address issues to do with climate change. So you've seen, like, for example, last year we had a shortage of maize due to the aspect of drought. So we want to find how can the agri-enterprises be able to come up with the proposals that would address that, to make the farmers still continue to produce. So one of the issues there is, are they able to promote aspects of using technologies that would conserve water or use little water to farm. For example, if you go to Makueni or you go to Machakos, they use drip irrigation technologies. Are they able to transfer that to the farmers to be able to adopt such technologies to produce? Because little rain is there, and so they can use that then to produce.
And also, if it's sustainable, that would be another question.
Exactly.
Too. All right, now moving away from agriculture and the financing aspect of it, most farmers face challenges when it comes to matters quality of seeds or even purchasing this quality seeds. What are you, or what is the EU doing about this to help farmers move on forward when it comes to innovation on agriculture for quality and better yields?
Yeah, I think one of the gaps with the smallholder farmers is on the skills. Yeah, so they do not know which technology should they adopt and how should they adopt that technology. So the first aspect of it is that we are trying, with the support from the EU, to train and capacity build the farmers to be able to understand the good agricultural practices that would then enable them to produce more or increase on their yield. Number two, we are trying to make sure that there is provision of extension services. Currently, we rely on the government to provide the same, but there are people who can be able to provide extension services, or we call the business development services, as private entities. So we want to bring the BDS service providers to be able to provide such kind of services, so that they don't only, wherever, to meet the shortage that is there from the government side. Number three is, you know, you learn by seeing. So we are trying, through the support of the EU, to ensure that we help the farmers to be able to learn from each other. You can have a group of farmers from Makueni to go to Embu and see the farmer who is doing well there and learn from that. And see that the person is able to maybe keep a dairy cow, and the yield from the dairy cow is 60 liters of milk per day. So you would want to see what is that farmer in Embu doing that is able to produce that. Then the last aspect is the financial access. We are trying to help them being able to be in groups, but also link them to the financial institutions to see how if they can be able to get credit or loans that they can use then to access or buy equipment that will improve on their technologies of production. And
that, of course, will better their yields.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Kenya is currently trying to embrace devolution. So how exactly would you say this particular program is in support of matters devolution?
Yeah. If you look at the structure since 2010, when the constitution a new constitution is enacted, agricultural sector is actually a devolved function. So it means that it rests at the county level. but also there is the policy issues that are still at the national level. So in the Agri-Fair program, what we are going to do, or what we have started currently doing, is involve the different counties to talk to them about Agri-FI, what it expects to achieve, and also engage with the national government to be able to see how to move the program forward. In fact, the program itself as a project steering committee that is chaired by the Ministry of Agriculture, and it is the CS for Agriculture who is the chair of the PSC.
All right.
So it therefore means that we have been able to make them work together.
You're working together.
Yes, we are working together. Number two is that we are using different platforms. There are trade associations, there are farmers associations. Those are the people we are targeting currently to talk to tell them about this program so that their members can be able to benefit. So some of these associations are also within the project steering committee. Then the last aspect is, of course, I talked about the different platforms, like yourself now, the Ebru. I'm sure that very many people are actually knowing about the program just by watching currently. And then we want to use different coordination committees within the country that invest in different programs within the country.
All right, and agriculture is the economy driver of this country.
Yes.
We need to establish that. Now, when it comes to martyrs exporting our agricultural goods, what are your sentiments on where we stand right now as a country?
Yeah, I think we need to encourage our farmers to be able to produce more and also target the external market or international markets to be able to get more out of their produce.
Is this program going to help the farmers gain international trust, or maybe now start working with the international markets?
Exactly, because it targets the SMEs who then are able to, some of them are exporters, some of them are will actually be producing to sell locally. And one of the issues that this program will be looking at that is very critical are issues related to quality standards. I'll give you an example. There's a standard that is required for you to be able to access the international market, mostly for fruits, and it's called a global gap certification. You can't export your mango to maybe Europe to be able, if it is not produced in a certified manner. So it needs the farmers to be certified with that kind of standard. So that is a quality issue, and that is one of the areas that we'll be looking at in this program. Any other innovative way in which the SME can be able to propose, we'll also support. And that's how we can be able to access the international markets. As you access, because the market is the pool, as you access the international market, it therefore means that you will be encouraged to bring on board more farmers, produce more, and then increase on the income of the smallholder farmers. All right. Yeah.
And aside from that, to date in Kenya, as much as we have devolution going on, and the new constitution bringing in the system of county governments to try and better the situation in different counties and to make sure everyone gets a job, we still go through the rural-urban migration. And with that, most of the people who end up participating, because most of the farms are in the rural areas, so most of the people who end up participating in martyrs farming are the elderly people. How are you going to sensitize the youth into embracing farming?
Okay. In this program, we are targeting the youth at different levels.
All right.
We expect that if the SMEs are able to engage the smallholder farmers, then jobs will be created at the SME level for the youths, because they are the most productive age group. So most of the SMEs would always want to employ people who are still able to work effectively.
Yeah, they have energy.
Yeah, so we look at that level as well. But also, you know, the youth generally, if we talk about those that are in between the age of 18 and 24, they need a quick win. for them to embrace agriculture.
Yeah.
So we are looking at issues to do with value addition. How do we help the youth to be able to gain the skills that is required for them to do value addition? We also want to look at how do they engage themselves into providing services that can help them earn faster. For example, issues to do with ICT. Can they be able to provide market information services to the smallholder farmers or to other farmers?
Oh, yeah.
Or can they be able to provide extension services that could then transform the kind of farming that is being done? So if they go to a particular farm and provide that kind of service or an advice on the same, then they get the quick
even
win.
baking. I think
or
you
even
can do your cakes after
exactly
the whole process has been done.
Exactly. Yeah. So skills is what we are looking at. We are looking at service provision. We are looking at creating employment at the SME level, and also we are looking at the issues to do with value addition.
That's how you're trying to lure them in.
Yeah, that's how we are trying to lure them.
As you say, they like quick fix.
Yeah, they like
quick money.
Yeah.
Anyway, now the Big Four Agenda seeks to drive smallholder production, create jobs in the sector, and scale SMEs. How will the Agrifinance program contribute to this?
Yes, I think I've just highlighted it.
I've
highlighted, but I just wanted to bring it clearer that there's this program is called Kilimo, and Kilimo in Kiswahili is agriculture, but it's not the Kilimo agriculture. It is Kenya Initiative for long-term integration of market operators. So what it means, if you look at those initials, it is actually Kilimo. So what it means is that we are trying to address issues related to a value chain in totality. So as we address issues to do with access to inputs, as we address issues to do with increased production, as we access issues to do with market, and we address capital, we are actually creating jobs in those areas. And that is a very deliberate effort that we are going to take.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's in line with our president's legacy making.
Exactly.
Now, let's now get down to you as we wind up in this interview.
Yes.
What is your work when it comes to this self groups?
Okay.
What role do you play?
We have been supported by the EU, and I must say that the EU has really given a lot of support to this country. And we need to give them credit for that. They support the health sector, they support the agricultural sector, they are addressing issues to do with food deficit within the country, which is currently happening in this program. And SelfHelp Africa is a partner with the EU. So they are giving us funds as grant managers to see how to work with other farms within the country to be able to support smallholder farming. So we are an international NGO, Irish-based, but working in Kenya and in some other 8 African countries. So we facilitate the process of making sure that we increase productivity of the smallholder farmers, making sure that they do the farming as a business, but also bringing the component of gender and nutrition within our programming. So we want to ensure that if a household is actually doing farming, they do it as a unit of a family, not a man the other side, a woman the other side. So that's what we are trying to promote. But even as they grow, they ensure that whatever the income they get can make them food nutritionally secure. If he for example, yesterday they were talking about the blending of flour within Kenya. If they take cassava, for example, in Kenya and use it as a requirement to blend the maize meal flour, and they only produce cassava within their farms, are they able to intercrop it with legumes, or are they able to sell it out? And if they sell it out, the income that they get, they can use then to get any protein from somewhere else. From somewhere else. So that's what we are trying to promote.
It's a chain of benefits.
Exactly.
If you take a look at it properly.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, what would you say the government of Kenya needs to borrow from the EU?
I think they need to work together with EU to be able to support extension services within this country. If you look at any issue, the fall armyworm, for example, that is happening. If you look at the drought aspects,
drought and fall armyworm, the floods, farmers lose a lot of produce.
They need to work with the research institutions that are connected to the government, within the government setup, to be able to come up with technologies that will promote smallholder farming. That is when we'll be food secure. So I think we are moving towards the direction, the right direction, given the big four agenda that the government has just come up with.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's right there wraps up our interview. And before I say I wish our viewers a very good afternoon, maybe you can tell us how farmers can reach you in case they are, or rather, how in case you are interested, or rather they qualify to your criteria. How can they reach you?
Yeah, we have our contacts. Our names are SelfHelp Africa. We are based in Nairobi. And our contacts through email is info@selfhelpafrica.org. But also we have our telephone contacts, which we can share later. I don't have them here, but we can be able to share them.
You'll have to check out our social media for more information, or just visit their website. And that wraps this up. Thank you so much for coming in and giving us an insight on Agrifinance, something that it affects almost each and every person, each and every farmer. Why I say it affects almost each and every person is because agriculture is everything when it comes to food. Not only is it a basic need, it's also an economy driver in this country. Yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having this time.
All right. So that was it for Business Insight this afternoon. My name is Nina Shaban. Stay blessed as you enjoy the rest of your day.